Hi, I'm Brendan, a Director and Head of Investments at RMS Advisory, and we'll be looking at the 2024 returns and risk for the RMS Saxum portfolio. Before reviewing the returns and the risk of the portfolios for 2024, I think it is useful to step back and look at the principles that guide these portfolios and how they were set up initially, and the principles that also apply to how we run the portfolios on a forward-looking basis. Firstly, we look for managers who have lower volatility and risk than the peer group average, but we want the portfolios to deliver similar returns to the peer group average over time. Secondly, we select managers who have got lower correlations and different investment styles. Thirdly, we blend these managers in a way to reduce risk and deliver returns. And lastly, we look for investment simplicity. We do not want a long tail of funds in this portfolio. It must be short and concise as possible. In terms of Saxum, it is useful to just look at it from a high level position. Firstly, to say, what are the objectives? It is a cautious portfolio. So on a risk rating, it's around a 3 out of 10, and the return objective over time is inflation plus 2 to 3% per annum. So looking at Saxum for 2024, the portfolio had a very good year, delivering 11.9%. This is ahead of the expected run rate and objective of inflation plus 2 to 3% per annum. A big driver of those positive returns and outperformance versus the objective has been that we've had higher interest rates over the last 2 years. That's resulted in higher interest on cash within the portfolio, as well as higher bond yields on the bonds held. And with interest rates starting to come down in the last 12 months, that has increased the return on the bond holdings, and the bond holdings are a fairly big portion within the portfolio. So looking forward, we expect the returns to decelerate from these levels and get closer back to the return objective. And if you look at it, inflation plus 2 to 3 for the year works out to be about 6.9%. When we compare that to the peer group average, the peer group average over 2024 was 12.2%. Importantly, within the portfolio, all the underlying managers delivered positively towards the return. To contextualize the return for Saxum for 2024, I think it is always useful to take a step back and look at the risk and return on a longer term basis. And on that basis, if we look at Saxum, the annualized return over the last 3 years has been 8.5% versus the peer group average of 8.1% per annum. Importantly, how do you deliver those returns? Risk is very important and one of the cornerstones of the portfolio. Over the last 3 years, Saxum has been positive 75% of the time, the peer group average only 69.4% of the time. In addition to that, the maximum drawdown over the 3-year period ending December 2024 for Saxum was minus 2.5% versus minus 3.8% for peer group average. And then to recover that drawdown, it took Saxum 1 month versus the peer group average of 5 months. So to contextualize Saxum's risk and return over a 3-year period, I feel it is helpful to look at this on a visual basis with a risk and return scatter plot. And as you can see on the screen here, the vertical axis shows the annualized return. The horizontal axis shows the deviation, the standard deviation, the risk, in other words. And as you can see, all these gray dots represent the peer group average. 1 dot equals 1 peer group average or 1 peer group fund. The green dot in the middle, that is the average amongst all the peers. The black dot is the Saxum portfolio. And importantly there, speaking to the previous slide and table, you'll see that Saxum delivered higher returns with lower risk than the peer group average, which is the black dot being represented in that top left-hand corner.